on the edge of the South Australian Outback, where the land stretches so far it seems to swallow sound, a little boy vanished. No screams, no witnesses, no trail to follow, just silence, and a family whose world would never be the same again. Tonight, this is the story of August Gus Lamont. The vanishing of August Gus Lamont, a child lost in the Outback. To understand why this case still haunts Australia, you have to understand who Gus was. He was 4 years old, small, bright-eyed, and endlessly curious. The kind of child who ran instead of walked, who laughed with his whole body, who saw adventure in every corner of the world around him. He loved Minions, and on the day he disappeared, he was wearing a light blue Minion shirt that stood out against the dusty red earth. Gus lived with his family on Oak Park Station, a remote cattle property about 40 kilometers south of the town of Vienta. Out there, the sky feels bigger, the silence feels deeper, and children grow up with wide horizons and early independence. But the land that teaches freedom can also be unforgiving. It was late afternoon on September 27, 2025, the kind of evening where the heat finally eases, shadows stretch long, and everything feels calm. Sometime between 5 and 5:30 p.m., Gus was playing on a mound of dirt near the homestead. His family was close by, close enough to hear him, close enough to believe he was safe. Then, he was gone. At first, it didn't feel like a nightmare. It felt like hide and seek, like he had ducked behind a shed or crouched in tall grass, waiting to be found. But minutes passed, the calling grew louder, the searching grew faster, and the quiet of the Outback suddenly felt hostile. By the time the police were called, the sun was already dropping toward the horizon. Darkness was coming, and somewhere in that vast landscape, the 4-year-old was alone. What followed became one of the largest search operations in South Australian history. Police, SES volunteers, neighbors, station workers, strangers who had never met the family. Helicopters swept the land with thermal imaging. Drones buzzed lower over scrubs and gullies. Horses and motorbikes pushed through thick bush. Hundreds of people walked shoulder to shoulder in grid lines across the red earth. They searched through heat. They searched through night. They searched through exhaustion and heartbreak. But the Outback did not answer. No clothing, no cries, no belongings. To many people, it seemed impossible that a child could vanish without a trace. But in terrain like this, it happens more often than we want to believe. The soil is soft and easily disturbed. Wind can erase footprints in minutes. Low scrub can hide a small body completely. Children don't move logically. They follow animals. They head downhill. They lie down in shade when they're tired. The heat and dehydration set in quickly. Confusion follows. And in a landscape where distances stretch endlessly, the window for finding clear evidence is tragically small. Search experts later describe the terrain as brutal, not because people didn't try, but because the land does not give back what it takes. When no answers come, questions begin to multiply. Did Gus wander too far and collapse from exhaustion? Did he fall into a hidden washout or dam? Was there an animal encounter? Could someone have been involved? Police have never confirmed any theory. No evidence has pointed in any clear direction. The case remains open. And that may be the hardest part of all. Not knowing what happened. Not knowing where to grieve. Just knowing he is gone. For Gus's family, life did not simply continue. It fractured. Days became measured in anniversaries. Holidays carried an empty space that could not be filled. Every phone call carried the same fragile hope. Could this be him? They spoke publicly not for attention, but for compassion, asking the world to remember that behind every headline is a family, trying to survive unbearable certainty. They have never stopped hoping, never stopped searching, never stopped loving their little boy. Hope, in cases like this, is both a lifeline and a burden, but it is something they refuse to let go. Across Australia, people still speak Gus's name. Volunteers still remember the silence of the search. Parents still hold their children tighter when they hear his story. His disappearance became more than a case. It became a reminder that safety can vanish in moments, that ordinary days can become lifelong grief, that sometimes the world can offer no explanation at all. In the vastness of the Outback, where the horizon seems to go on forever, and the wind carries secrets older than memory, one little boy's story still lingers. August Gus Lamont was 4 years old. He was loved, he was curious, he was full of light, and he vanished into a landscape too large, too quiet, and too cruel to explain itself. Until the answers come, if they do, his story remains a plea for empathy, a call for vigilance, and a testament to a family's unbroken hope. Some mysteries fade, this one hasn't, and this one won't.